Did Chelsea's mid-season tactical shift signal a genius move or a desperate gamble? Today, we dive deep into the strategies of both Chelsea and Tottenham Hotspur, unpacking what worked, what didn't, and why fans should buckle up for a rollercoaster ride. Let's start with Chelsea by quickly addressing the most pressing question for Chelsea fans. What was Liam Rosenior's approach in this match? The possession stats weren't particularly high, and there was a clear defensive retreat in the latter stages, deviating from Enzo Maresca's usual foundational tactics. Is this a clean break from the previous regime? Is it a dismantling of the system? My prediction was a cautious hope for a draw with an outside chance of winning, but I wouldn't confidently say a win was guaranteed. During the match, you could see Brentford had plenty of opportunities, many of which were half breakaways. Thankfully, their so-called number 7, Kevin Shade, lacked clinical finishing. Chelsea's goals largely came from opponent mistakes. High pressing to regain possession in the opponent's half, leading to quick counter-attacks that bypassed defensive congestion. Forcing errors from the opposition goalkeeper, a penalty to open the scoring. Later shifting into a defensive mode of low-block defending, long clearances and time wasting, rather than prolonged possession. Overall, it somewhat resembled Erik ten Hag's early days at Manchester United, a pragmatic stopgap solution, quickly advancing past the halfway line without overcomplicating build-up play from the back, sometimes opting for early shot attempts after crossing midfield. Retaining some of Enzo Maresca's positional framework in attack, with wide stretches and Cole Palmer drifting right, albeit in a more restricted role. Pre-midline adjustments such as Reece James occasionally tucking inside, but generally favouring a more direct approach, simplifying the defensive phase to minimise self-inflicted errors while capitalising on opponent mistakes to secure wins. I suspect Liam Rosenior isn't trying to erase the previous system entirely, but is instead simplifying things under the constraints of an immediate points push and a mid-season takeover without a full pre-season. The priority is reducing defensive errors while maintaining the existing attacking structure, focusing on securing 3 points to navigate through this so-called dark period. Once a full pre-season is available, the possession-based system can be refined from scratch. For now, there's no need to overreact to claims of a system dismantling. Comparing this to Arsenal, they've also incorporated more direct phases recently, not always insisting on intricate build-up before crossing midfield, sometimes opting for long balls or vertical passes, though they stabilise the tempo once past the halfway line. However, note that an accelerated tempo increases injury risks, reduces possession, and extends defensive exposure. Arsenal's elite defensive quality and squad depth make this manageable, but Chelsea's weaker defensive structure means this pragmatic directness, while increasing goal-scoring chances, also amplifies their vulnerability to conceding. In short, it's a viable short-term points strategy, but a high-risk gamble. Match examples. At 43 minutes, Alejandro Garnacho squandered a golden counter-attack opportunity. At 20 minutes, Chelsea's early attack conclusion led to a midfield turnover, allowing Brentford a lethal counter. Their number 7, Kevin Shade, bizarrely opted for a misplaced square pass from the penalty spot. At 38 minutes, a set-piece defensive lapse nearly resulted in a goal, with the opponent hitting the post. At 49 minutes, another rushed Chelsea attack led to a half breakaway for the opposition. The late-game defensive retreat was equally nervy. This approach not only demands higher physical exertion, but could also limit European competition progress. Still, Rosenior may have calculated that given Chelsea's current defensive frailties, prioritizing a Premier League top 4 or top 5 push over European ambitions is wiser. Summing up this match, the 3 points were largely due to Brentford's poor finishing. Against more clinical opponents, the sustainability of this pragmatic approach will be tested. Earlier this season, Chelsea had multiple 0-0 draws, controlled tempo but no end product, highlighting the inherent uncertainty in this path. Had they persisted with Enzo Maresca's dark period strategy, patient build-up, higher possession, attacking as a defensive shield, a gradual second-half improvement was plausible, which was my original prediction had he stayed. Instead, Rosenier's mid-season arrival without pre-season prep makes a hard reset risky. Short-term simplification for points is logical. Whether a top four push is achievable depends on Manchester United's trajectory under their interim manager, Aston Villa's potential decline, their recent losing streak suggests vulnerability, European competition resumption, reshuffling priorities for rivals. I'm more concerned about Liverpool. Their lack of reinforcements and dual competition strain could be detrimental, whereas Chelsea's absence from Champions League duties is a minor advantage. On to Tottenham versus West Ham. Pre-match, I noted in written analysis that Spurs wouldn't win, perhaps only dominating possession. Despite no clear fitness disadvantage, their performance was worse than expected. No dominance and a loss. Even without the late corner winner, it would have been 1-1. West Ham's set-piece delivery into the 6-yard box caused chaos, a hallmark of modern football, with even mid-table teams excelling here. Their 24th-minute corner nearly resulted in a goal. Spurs lacked pressing intensity and couldn't impose their preferred tempo. West Ham, typically blunt in attack and shaky in defence, still managed a slow, methodical 14th-minute goal, albeit deflected, exposing Spurs' inability to disrupt build-up, unacceptable given a week's rest and home advantage. The first half season's physical toll lingers. Signing Conor Gallagher, a high-energy midfielder, suggests a continued fast-paced approach, further straining the squad. The tactical dissonance is baffling. Fast transitions demand central penetration, yet Spurs insist on wide overloads, increasing running distances and fatigue. Ben Davies, just back from injury, couldn't cope and got injured again. Spurs' lone goal felt incidental. A corner rebound headed in by Christian Romero, hardly a sustainable comeback blueprint. Gallagher showed energy, but his signing feels like a panic buy. Spurs, already exhausted, needed a tempo-controlling defensive midfielder to slow play and aid recovery. Instead, they added another box-to-box runner, joining Yves Bissouma, Lucas Bergval and Rodrigo Bentancur, creating a midfield of workhorses lacking a metronomic presence. Short-term, it might stem the bleeding, but long-term, it's like powering a dying phone with portable chargers instead of replacing the battery. Additionally, deploying Juan Palhinha as a speed-focused winger for width stretches seems counterproductive. If reducing fatigue is the goal, designing more central direct attacking routes would be more efficient than relentless wide overloads. If you enjoyed this analysis, show some love by commenting, liking and subscribing to the channel. Your support keeps us going.